The bag is packed with the sticks. The drinks are cold. And the scorecard's ready to go. Time to hit the links.
I know I already picked Xander, but I hope that my second Gruber Lofts' one call that's all pick is the golf course. I want to see carnage this week.
It's time to go on the tee.
We're golfers, man. We're weird.
Sponsored by Majestic Oaks at Lake Lawn Resort.
Yeah, I don't care too much about other things outside of golf.
And Gruber Law Offices. One call, that's all.
I've tried to talk myself into a number of different people, whether that's Bryson, whether that's John Rahm. But I just keep coming back to Scotty, man.
You're going to do it?
Yeah.
Alongside PGA Tour Live, Stephen Watson, here's Gabe Neitzel.
Want to cozy it up. Don't need to make it. 2 putts.
JJ Spaun making the longest putt of the week to win the 125th U.S. Open at Oakmont by 2. He's the lone man under par. More on that in just a second, but I do want to shout out our friends at Majestic Oaks. Present the show. So coming up later in the show, Stephen and I have a conversation and talk about our time going down there a couple weeks ago. But the friendly staff over there, they sent us, if you're watching on YouTube, we have a flag. We have a flag, a whole flag that they gave us, and the entire staff signed. So just a nice little gift from our time down at Majestic Oaks.
Yeah, special round out there. Great time with Brandon, and thank you to him and his crew for the nice little gesture of making us feel at home. It's an awesome piece of property down there in Lake Geneva.
Yeah, 2 miles of lakefront, wide fairways, challenging greens, and we can now attest to those challenging greens. 18-hole golf course offers a golfing experience like no other. Like this. The best family nights in the state. Everyone can enjoy the game together. Golf, cart, drinks, snacks for under $15 a person. They have several membership options. You can find the perfect fit for your lifestyle. If you're ready to book your tee time today. LakeLawnResort.com and Majestic Oaks Golf Course. But JJ Spaun is a major champion. Somebody who didn't really have a major resume coming into the U.S. Open. Somebody who a year ago, and he talked about this, Stephen, about he thought he was going to be losing his job.
Yeah.
And he thought, okay, we're going down swinging. And he has played exceptional golf since then. He's had a couple of top 5 finishes on the PGA Tour, most notably the runner-up finish at the Players' Championship to Rory, where he lost in a playoff. And now he can call himself a major champion at the toughest venue in the United States.
If you would have asked me if JJ Spaun wins the U.S. Open, how would I feel about that? I'd be like, that's kind of disappointing. The run that we have been on has been incredible. Scotty winning the PGA. Of course, Rory winning the Masters, dating back to last year. It's Xander, it's Bryson. But the way JJ won and the manner in which he did it on a golf course that ultimately proved to be the biggest test that we've seen in the professional game for quite some time, man, all I can do is smile thinking about that finish at Oakmont and all that he had to overcome to get to that point, and finishing with a walk-off 64-foot, 5-inch putt to win his first major championship. That was storybook stuff, Gabe. I can't stop. I am going to remember this U.S. Open for decades. And JJ Spaun and his comeback story, his underdog story, is a big reason why. And I can't stop smiling just thinking about what that moment must have meant to him. Because I can tell you what, as a golf fan, I was screaming when I saw that putt drop.
I couldn't believe it went in.
What an electric finish. Because, Gabe, you think about it, most of the day was a pillow fight.
Oh, yeah.
And then it ended in a pay-per-view event.
You go birdie to win at Oakmont.
It was so much fun down the stretch. I know we were texting each other throughout that entire finish as well, and just thinking about the cojones we saw on JJ Spaun, the drive he hit on 17, the drive he hit on 18, the approach shot, thinking, wow, that's a long distance to 2-putt from, and he goes and jars it. I mean, what an incredible performance by JJ Spaun down the stretch. And perhaps the most impressive thing, 40 on the front, 32 on the back.
That is the most impressive thing, because he took basically the timeout that they got because of the rain. In starting with 5 straight fives, not a great way to start your day.
No.
Not a great way to start your day.
Not when you're on the first page of a leaderboard on Sunday at the U.S. Open.
And he got the unluckiest break. Everybody likes, they lump in he hit a rake on 3. I mean, it's just a weird thing. I don't know if that was unlucky. Like the
you
bunkers,
hit the flag stick with a dead aim.
Like if that does not hit the flag stick on 2, he probably has 5 feet max. Because it's taking one hop, it's stopping, it might even spin back a little bit towards the hole. Right? He's going to have 5 feet. Instead, clangs off the stick and rolls all the way down the hill. Like, it took so long to roll down the hill, they cut to, it hit the stick, and it's starting to roll. Cut to JJ Spaun. Like, what's going on? Cut to the ball, still rolling. Cut to JJ Spaun. Is that my ball rolling off the green? Cut back to the ball. Yep, it's his ball rolling off the green. Cut to JJ Spaun. Like, they were able to cut back and forth so many times because it took that long for the ball to finally come to a rest, as he is just, you get to see him process in real time what the hell just happened. I thought I just flagged that, and he caught such an unlucky break. And then he used the timeout that they had, just a little over an hour, to kind of reset. And he talked about that in his press conference of, hey, you don't have to try to do too much. Next thing you know, the putts just started pouring in on the back nine. Yeah. I mean, everybody loves to talk about the 40-30 that Tiger shot at Augusta in 1997 when he won his first Masters, because he set the Masters scoring record after starting 40. When you only got 9 holes left at the toughest golf course in America, and you go 3 under and shoot 32 on a day when the group behind you shot 78 and 79 respectively, that is unbelievable. Just to turn around and shoot 3 under par on the back nine on a day when there's not a lot of red numbers out there, and 3 under par total was the lowest, 67. Rory McIlroy and Jon Rahm both shooting 67 on Sunday. Like, to match that 300 total just going in on the back nine to win the U.S. Open, that's some magical stuff.
Let's talk about the putt. So 64 feet, 5 inches to walk off and win a major championship. The probability of a PGA Tour player making a putt from that distance is less than 2%. They're 6 times more likely to 3-putt than hole out from 65 feet. 12% to 3-putt for PGA Tour players.
And that's on a PGA Tour golf course. That's not at Oakmont.
Correct. According to Jamie Kennedy of Golf Digest, this was Spaun's 54th round on the PGA Tour this year. His longest putt made was 40 feet before that 64-foot, 5-inch putt. And that came on the 12th hole at Oakmont on Sunday. So the longest 2 putts that he has made this entire PGA Tour season, 54 rounds, came on the back nine at a major. That's how you win this thing, Gabe.
Oh, yeah. You have to putt incredibly well. The short game and everything has to be working. Now, on 18, I didn't think he was going to make it. I felt pretty good about his chance to 2-putt, knowing that he got a pretty good look.
Yeah.
Like, that's the one thing about these guys is when you give them an idea of just, and it really, for me, wasn't really about the break, because, well, you knew it was going to break a bunch. But it was just, okay, how hard do I have to hit this?
Yeah.
And those guys are so perceptive out there. Oh, Victor Hovland hit this hard. Okay, now I know how hard I can hit this. And he was going to get it within a certain circle where I felt like he was going to be able to 2-putt. Never in a million years did I think he would jar it and just go dead center, drop it to be the only guy to shoot under par.
It's interesting. He talked about his win his lone win on the PGA Tour was the 2022 Valero Texas Open. Same exact thing happened, where he hit an approach around the same distance, right around 60 feet. And I forget who he was playing with at the time. They had a bunker shot that landed right in front of his ball, and he was able to get a free read from the way the ball rolled out toward the cup. And he goes out, and that helps him win a championship. He said it felt kind of like a full circle moment for him. He's like, I've been in this position before. He was able to watch Hovland's putt roll in. But man, I mean, what an iconic way to win any event, let alone a U.S. Open.
He had only played 8 majors prior to this U.S. Open. He had missed the cut 3 times. He is still yet to play in an Open championship. That's obviously going to be ending this year. But his best finish prior to this, T23 at the Masters in 2022.
This is only his second U.S. Open, correct?
Correct. He missed the cut in 2021. Did not play in any majors last year. The only major he played in 2023 was the PGA, where he was cut.
And I had mentioned kind of at the top his underdog story, and a lot of that is because he has been so transparent about how close he was to giving it all up. And he had spoken to his college golf coach about becoming a golf instructor. You know, that was right around the time that he ended up winning at Valero Texas Open. And he spoke, it was at the Players earlier this year. At that point, he put himself in contention. He, ended up losing to Rory in a playoff, but he spoke about kind of the crippling anxiety that he had and the fear of embarrassment, not being able to finish off a tournament. And I think that's a feeling that a lot of people feel at that level. Certainly we feel that when you're in contention at an event. Maybe it's a member guest. Maybe it's even for $5 on a final putt. Just the type of feeling that can flood your body with. Now imagine on their scale. He said that losing to Rory in the playoff was not an example of that crippling embarrassment. It actually helped him become better because in that moment, he felt like he proved to himself, I just went toe-to-toe with Rory McIlroy. I think I can do this. And now we're seeing the best version of JJ Spaun.
Well, also, maybe he didn't have a ton of time to think about, hey, what's this final round of the U.S. Open going to be like? Because he was dealing with some family stuff. We've talked about Scotty Scheffler and Bennett Scheffler and how Bennett has just stolen the show after Scotty's won some of these tournaments recently. Bennett, of course, being Scotty's son. Well, JJ, if you were watching, his two daughters were in attendance with his wife. And apparently his daughter was dealing with a little something, and he explained in his press conference after he won.
Well, today I was running to CVS in downtown because my daughter had a stomach bug and was vomiting all night long. So I was just like, okay. Like my wife was up at 3 a.m. and she's like, Violet's vomiting, although she can't keep anything down. And so it was kind of a rough start to the morning. I'm not blaming that on my start, but it was just kind of like it fit the mold of what was going on, the chaos. But my daughter always asks me every time Dad goes golfing, she's like, were you the winner today? And I'm just sometimes like, yeah, I was. And then she's like, well, where's my surprise? But so today she's like, you're the winner today. Like she got to see it. Like she didn't have to ask me. So that was a really fun moment.
Yeah, up at 3 a.m. dealing with kids vomiting everywhere.
Yeah, a little bit of hashtag perspective for you, right?
Oh, I got to take care of this. See if I can get a little bit of sleep and then head to the course, start my warm-up.
Yeah, and that's what also makes this championship so special. It's on Father's Day, and we've seen a lot of iconic images over the years of whether it's hugging your dad on the final green or your kids on the green, what that's meant to some of these players and past champions. And, man, it's always going to be a soft spot for me to see what that moment is like. But for him to deal with that overnight, maybe that helps settle your mind a little bit. You know, you start thinking about
you're
things
not
that
wandering.
actually matter.
Yeah, you're not wandering. You're just like, okay, I have to go to CVS. I got to make sure I get this. Is my kid okay?
Yeah.
Instead of your mind just wandering and not being able to sleep, going, okay, what happened? Okay, well, hole 2, I got to hit this club, and I got to hit this. All right, how to make sure I 2-putt.
Yeah, and the best part is that CVS on Twitter ended up tweeting at him, congratulating him for the win. Gosh, it's so good.
So JJ Spaun is the champion at Oakmont. How do we feel Oakmont was? Again, one of the toughest tests. It's hosted the most U.S. Opens. What do we think about the thick rough and how the course held up? We're going to talk about that coming up next on the tee. But I want to tell you about Erin Hills, Golf Digest 10th ranked public course in the country. Charming overnight accommodations and a championship golf experience. The back nine, pure elegance, exquisite undulations, perhaps most striking on the tumbling fairway on hole number 12. Experience it for yourself. Erin Hills, championship golf in Wisconsin. Plan your trip. ErinHills.com. With 18 unforgettable holes on 250 acres of natural private land, the Bog provides the ultimate golf experience. To book your next tee time, call 262-284-7075 or visit golfthebog.com. Enjoy golf. Enjoy the Bog. Reacting to the 125th U.S. Open at Oakmont, I'm Gabe Neitzel along with Stephen Watson. You've got a question that you want to throw out there as part of our Gruber Law Office's One Call, That's All this week.
It's a pretty simple question for you.
Okay.
What was a better shot on the 72nd hole at the U.S. Open? Bryson's bunker shot last year at Pinehurst or JJ Spaun's walk-off putt this year?
Ooh.
Because how about the finishes we've had on the 72nd hole at this championship the last 2 years?
I am going to say Bryson's bunker shot. Because, I mean, they end up being the same because Bryson needed to get up and down, right? He needed 2 strokes in order to win. And it's kind of the same thing for JJ where he needed 2 strokes to win because he had a little bit of that cushion, just needed to make sure he made a par and didn't make a bogey in order to avoid a playoff. But I feel like there wasn't a lot of pressure on JJ after Victor Hovland ended up behind him. I don't want to take away from the incredibleness of JJ making that putt.
Yeah.
Because it's spectacular. But we all know how just unbelievably difficult some of a long bunker shot is. Just awkward. How do I hit this? How do I, in the way that those greens can run at Pinehurst,
especially 18.
It's an incredibly difficult shot.
Yeah.
So it's a great question, but I lean towards Bryson just because the degree of difficulty of what would you rather have?
That's exactly
what
where
would you
my head
rather
goes.
have? Would you rather be where JJ Spaun was and okay, I have to 2-putt this to win the US Open, or be where Bryson was and I got to get this up and down to win the US Open?
You have to add Rory in there as well, right?
Yeah.
For Bryson, he gets up and down to beat Rory McIlroy. Mm-hmm. JJ, nothing against the guys that he was fighting with, but you trust you're going to 2-putt from 65 feet more often than not.
Yeah, especially when you're on top of the U.S. Open. Chances are things have been going your way throughout the course of the week.
Getting up and down from a 55-yard bunker shot to win a U.S. Open was a more skillful play by Bryson DeChambeau.
Yeah.
What's unique about it, and the reason I want to bring it up, is because Spaun actually gained more strokes on the putt than Bryson did on the bunker shot, which is kind of unique. His bunker shot at Pinehurst gained plus 0.94 shots on the field.
Okay.
Spaun's putt gained 1.24. Just to put in perspective how...
It's probably the difference between going in and not going in.
Yeah, of course. Yeah, but both were incredible shots.
Yes.
Both were incredible finishes.
Yes.
And the U.S. Open, man, it
just
you
continues.
go to these iconic courses, and it doesn't matter who wins. You're going to get a show, and we certainly got that again.
And that's you mentioned it was a pillow fight, but guys are just fighting for their damn lives out there on Sunday.
Yeah, it was a bloody pillow fight.
Yeah, it was. At one point, I think 5 guys were tied for the lead at 1 over.
Yeah.
I think that's what it was. And, Sam Burns just kind of faded. Same thing with Adam Scott. They just, after coming out of the weather delay, they just couldn't get out of their own way. I don't know if I saw Adam Scott hit a good shot after the weather delay.
I know I texted this to you going into Sunday, but I really wanted Adam Scott to win this.
Yeah.
He's said it that he thinks one more major championship gets him into the Hall of Fame. This was his 96th consecutive major participated in.
Yeah.
Unbelievable. I wanted Hovland if it wasn't going to be Adam Scott because I felt like he is probably the best player without one at this point.
Yeah.
And I think he's great theater. I think he's a great soundbite, and I want to know what his winning press conference was going to sound like more than anything. That was just
he's
he's an entertainer behind the mic, even though he doesn't intend to be. He's just so open. He's almost too open, but he's become much more likable over the years, and I appreciate kind of the mental roller coaster that Victor Hovland brings us on. Very Spiethian.
Yeah, he is just so incredibly open, but he hasn't said anything, and we might get into Rory at some point today. But when he's been open, he hasn't said anything where you go, that's not the way I would have put it.
Yeah,
just everything with Victor.
He makes you think.
Yeah, we put it. Part of the Open. Yeah, we're golfers. We're weird. Just things when he says things like that, or he's talking about. They're asking him how he's playing, and he's just saying, yeah, I'm not really worried about that. I just want to know, I want the ball to go where I'm looking. I want the ball to come out of the window. But also by saying that, you can kind of see, if the ball's going where he's looking, everything else kind of takes care of itself. So that's how he's gauging how well he's swinging it. But also talking about, even though winning this year proved to him that even though his swing doesn't feel like he wants it to, that his iron play is still good enough, and he can trust it to be good enough to compete at the highest of levels, and just trying to trust that and going through all the different things that he goes through, and he likes to tinker and all these different things. He's a very endearing character in golf right now.
I agree. I also want to give a shout out to Bob McIntyre. I thought his performance on Sunday is going to get lost, and one of the images that's going to be burned in my head was.
In fairness, NBC also lost him.
Yeah,
I didn't see him too much on my television screen.
Tough with the weather delay and the way that he played, and he kind of backdoored his way into serious contention. The shot that NBC did get of him clapping from the scores table as JJ made the putt, that's awesome.
His reaction And then Tyrrell's reaction.
Tyrrell, in the middle of his press conference after the round, watching the monitor and hearing the roar of the JJ Spaun putt.
And Tyrrell, understandably, it's hard to put a finger on Tyrrell. It honestly is, because I dislike Tyrrell Hatton the golfer. I think I would really like Tyrrell Hatton the dude.
Oh, yeah.
If that makes sense, right? Like, just the way...
The guy you'd want in your foursome, because he'd entertain the hell out of you.
But like, the way he acts, and he had missed a putt on 16, like, and you know, was obviously gutted by that because he stuffed one in there with a 4-iron. And then he goes bogey to finish at 3 over par, so he knows he's not even going to be in a playoff if there is one, because Robert McIntyre was already in the clubhouse. But just like the way he reacts to bad shots and blames everything else, like on the golf course, I find him exhausting.
Yeah.
It's like the way he just like snapped out of being this grumpy dude in the middle of his press conference because he just saw JJ Spaun make this incredible putt and go,
oh, incredible.
Yeah, I hold it, didn't he? Like, and all of a sudden he just has this big smile on his face, like, oh, that was just really cool. What just happened? That was awesome. And he could recognize that in the moment. And honestly, when he talks in the media, like before rounds, I find him interesting.
Yeah.
Like after rounds, when he's throwing his fits and calling Augusta not a very good golf course, that like grows old on me. But the Tyrrell Hatton Monday through Wednesday at a golf tournament is fascinating. So I can't quite put my finger on what exactly he is.
I think he's a perfect example of the guy you want on your team, but the guy you don't want to face. Like, he's probably great inside that Team Europe locker room.
Oh, yeah. He's been a pain in my ass for way too long as a USA Ryder Cup fan.
If you want a little bit more, I would almost compare him to like a John McEnroe, who used to throw his racket and curse and yell, and it was just all part of the act. And then off the court, he's kind of an endearing person.
Yeah.
I think that's kind of similar. A lot of these guys turn into somebody different. Roger Federer was like that for a lot of his tennis career before he started winning, multiple major championships. And I like Tyrrell. I don't think everybody can be Jordan Spieth, and I think that it's good to have different personalities on the golf course. It's entertaining. It's good theater. It's a great mic'd up opportunity. I mean, you got to have... I don't want to even call him a villain because I don't dislike him in the way that I dislike Patrick Reed.
Sure.
But
I just dislike his antics because, like, it's just like part of his process to just like blame somebody other than himself or something other than himself.
A lot of golfers. Are
I understand that, but like
he does it in a whiny way, which could probably be improved. But like we all have been the guys like, club that terrible lie. It must have been the embedded water.
That was that's different guy.
Yeah.
Who did get screwed, by the way? Should have gotten relief.
Yeah.
Look, we can address that quickly with Sam Burns. I will say this.
Standing water? What's the proper term for it?
They changed the terminology, I think, when they changed like the term. Like if you're in a match, it's not all square anymore. It's just tied and Dormy's gone and all these different things. So they changed some of the terminology. It used to be casual water. Now I don't know if it's standing water or temporary water, maybe.
Yeah.
But Kyle Porter from The Normal Sport, which is his own newsletter, like went out there and kind of took some steps. Based on the way I understood that rule, maybe I've been playing the rule wrong all along. He should have gotten relief. That being said, he was already in full eject mode, and I don't think getting a drop there would have ultimately changed the tournament or saved him and suddenly like vaults him to the top of the leaderboard.
You got two officials who come over and give it a ruling.
Pretty quickly, too. Like, pretty quickly and just, you just got to hit the shot.
Go golf your ball. It's the elements. It's raining. It's part of it. You never like to see that happen, but it kind of makes me think of the PGA Championship and the mud balls.
Yeah.
It's the same type of conversation. If you're that uncertain about what your ball is sitting in, play a different shot.
Yeah, you can't hit the stock shot there. Which is why, again, like I can feel like he got a bad ruling there.
Yeah.
But ultimately...
We're playing a U.S. Open. You got to be creative in some spots.
Like, you cost yourself already.
And I think the train was already off the tracks at that point, to your point.
Yeah.
But you know what's fun about this conversation we're having? We've talked about, obviously, the winner, JJ Spaun, Adam Scott, Victor Hovland, Sam Burns, Tyrrell Hatton, Bob McIntyre. And we had a lot of fun, man. We haven't mentioned Scotty. We haven't mentioned Rory. We haven't mentioned Xander or Bryson. I didn't know we could have this much fun without them. Like, I didn't think that this type of energy could come from us without the superstars rising, which is what we both anticipated would happen this week.
But also, like, Scotty was still there.
Yeah.
You know what I'm saying?
Sure.
As you saw the big numbers that, JJ starts 5 in a row. And Burns hung into it for a while, and then before the rain delay, he was starting to back it up. And as everybody's getting back closer to par, and Scotty makes the turn at 35, so he's even he's at 4 over. I thought what JJ ultimately did was possible for Scotty.
Yeah, I mean, we almost.
Well, if Scotty
was sitting there at 4 over, and you're like,
oh yeah,
like
it was
hope
the
he
same
didn't
thing.
Fly back.
Well, because Scotty's sitting there at 4 over, and you're going, well, if he shoots 32, gets to 1 over, like 1 over could be the playoff. And for the longest time, it looked like 1 over would have been the playoff. And Scotty, 2 birdies, 2 bogeys on the back, so he obviously kind of faltered. But like he was just lingering enough where you're like, well,
he just didn't make his move. And
yeah, he just ultimately didn't make a move.
It's a hard golf course to make a move on, which is again why you have to credit JJ for the back 9 that he had on Sunday
for making a move on
32.
17 and 18.
No, but I think ultimately my point in reeling off those names is that the course won, which I think is what we wanted to see. We wanted to see the test. Even with soft conditions, the course still won. Imagine if that place was baked out. Holy cow.
You probably get something that's close to, because Angel Cabrera won it in an 07 at 5 over.
Yeah.
You're probably getting something closer to that.
And, that was fun to see a course not get manhandled by the best in the world. And, man, if we could go there every other year, I'd take it. I had so much fun watching golf.
I mean, at one point, with the final group, Sam Burns made double, and like you still had you were because Sam Burns made double, and you had Adam Scott struggling. Like Adam Scott poured in a bogey putt, and he's gaining on the lead because somebody's making a double. It was spectacular. It was so much fun, and I don't know about every other year, but I'm glad they're coming back here frequently because that type of tests is good every once in a while. Again, we talked about it last week. 14 clubs in the bag and the one between your ears is the mantra of the U.S. Open and the USGA with these top-of-the-line championships, whether it's the men, whether it's the women. That's what you're going to hear Mike Wan and everybody else who is a member of the USGA say. And some guys cracked under that. They absolutely cracked under the pressure of getting tested with the one between your ears.
Top 10 players in the world.
Yeah. We saw Rory fail that test. We saw Bryson fail that test. JT failed that test. Wyndham Clark failed that test in a big way.
Yeah, man. Tough few weeks for Wyndham.
Yeah.
On the personality front.
On the temper tantrum front.
Yeah. It's
one thing to be frustrated. Honestly, this to me is worse than the club throw.
Oh, it's not even close.
For those who don't know, and I know Laying Up is the first one who reported it, Wyndham did some damage to some lockers inside Oakmont after
part of the history
cut.
And charm of Oakmont is how the history is right in front of you, including the locker room, and he kicked in multiple doors, and that's just inexcusable.
Yeah, like what he and again, I'm not trying to excuse what he did at the PGA too, because
throwing clubs,
throwing a club the way he did, like. When Max threw a club out in front of him and there's nobody there, to throw a club wildly behind you and almost clip a Marshall and take out a T-Mobile sign, which happens to be one of your partners as well. Like
maybe that was like a good guerrilla marketing scheme, though. But go on.
Yeah, so it's like okay, that's So it's like okay, that's not great, but it's in the heat of the moment. You get it. To be done with your round, to walk to the locker room and not be able to control your emotions, where you do property damage to a historic golf course. That's
Rory had a pretty cool club throw. Threw it in his bag, popped right back to his hand. Even he surprised himself.
Yeah, but again, the club throw like that, like you're not taking anyone. Well, he almost took himself out, but again, that's you threw the club, it bounces back at you. That's the way it goes.
Yeah.
But a lot of the guys failed the mental test. JJ Spaun did not. Is his drive because he made the putt? Is the drive he hit on 17 underrated?
Yes.
Okay.
The drive he hit on 17 might have been, now his second best shot of the championship.
But it's the shot that won him the championship.
Correct.
Because by hitting that shot, it allows him to two-putt, take the one-shot lead into 18, knowing he just needed to make a par to win.
Yeah, I mean, gosh, you could even say his drive on 18, the three-shot combo, putting it 308 yards into the center cut of the 18th fairway with a championship in your hands.
I don't know how many times I saw guys miss that fairway. And not many that they were showing hit the fairway, for sure.
Yeah, it was
spectacular performance.
Just out of body. I can't even imagine just like the flow state of what that must have been like for JJ Spaun to finish those 2 holes in the way he did.
You mentioned Rory McIlroy. We do have to get to Rory and some of the odd comments that he's making. I don't know what's going on with our guy. We'll do that coming up next, but there's watching the Brewers, then there's watching while golfing at X Golf inside American Family Field. Book a sim bundle for $70 per person or go big with the sim double play for $50 per person. That includes a game ticket, 2 premium sims, and seating for your group, just 22 people minimum. Prices are crazy low. Group options are endless. Plus, regulars, grab the $100 season membership for 50% off sim time all season long. Book your game day at X Golf inside American Family Field, open to the public 7 days a week. Do what Steven and I did. If you're looking for a great place to play golf, join the Wisconsin Country Club. Now, we love it because of the golf course, which is getting in pretty good shape. It was been a rough spring for everybody. Now with this warm weather, golf course in great shape. Maybe you can go out and shoot a 74 like Steven did.
Hey, summer is starting like this week, right? We're just getting going golf season.
Yeah. And maybe I'll actually see you on the golf course. Maybe I'll see you out at the Wisconsin Country Club.
I hope you get your hope.
Because it's a great challenging course, but also if you're a family man like Stephen Watson, tennis, pickleball, pool, all those great things for the family as well. Get started today at thewisconsincountryclub.com, just a fairway away. It is no secret we are big Rory McIlroy fans on this show. It's also hasn't been the easiest to be a Rory McIlroy fan the last couple of weeks because he decides to step up and say some interesting things, Stephen, and saying the quiet part out loud. Like, yeah, I feel like I've earned the right to do whatever I want. Let's go ahead and listen to what Rory McIlroy said after his final round on Sunday.
So transparent with us and very available. Yesterday was 6 majors in a row, rounds that you kind of stepped away. Has that been part and parcel to the frustration on the golf course? What do you attribute?
No, not really. It's more a frustration with you guys. But yeah,
In what way?
I'm just, I don't know. I mean, I've been totally available for the last few years, and I'm not saying maybe not you guys, but maybe more just the whole thing, the whole. Yeah, part of I mean, that was a part of it. That was a part of it. But it's not as if like at Augusta I skipped you guys on Thursday. So it's not as if it's not out of the ordinary. I've done it before. I'm just doing it a little more often.
Is it part of the you kind of carried the tour with your awards for like 3 or 4 years now? You feel like you've earned a break?
I feel like I've earned the right to do whatever I want to do. Yeah.
Hard to disagree with that sentiment. I think he has earned that.
Yeah.
However, when you say that part out loud, that's the quiet part, saying it out loud, that's something that I would say is unlikable. Yeah. And I can understand those who don't like Rory. Now that's ammunition for them to continue to throw that out there.
Yeah, he's becoming a victim of his own transparency. And I think that both can be true in this situation. I think that we've seen instances where Rory is clearly getting fed up with the spotlight and the weight that he has put on himself by becoming the next face of golf. You think about the fan who is trying to mess with him on the tee box during a practice round, and Rory grabs his phone and walks away with it, heckling him about his drive that he hit at Augusta. And then, the weight, even just like watching the way that fans surround him and then the attention that he drew at the PGA Championship and dealing with the driver incident and, the public scrutiny that might come with that situation. It's understandable that the weight has become too much. And I think it's important to remember that these are human beings, not robots. But he also has to be, if he wants, you can't eat your cake and have it too when it comes to talking.
The weird part is, again, and we talked about this after the PGA, skipping all 4 days. Like he literally just had to talk for 2 minutes one day, and it's a non-story. It's a non-story. If it's a story, but then if he talks on Sunday after the round, like most of it goes away. Like, because like you mentioned, he skipped Thursday at I don't think Rory needs to speak every day, but when we're at a major championship, but yeah, you should probably speak once or twice.
You know, I disagree with you there. I think he needs to speak every day. I think these guys need to be made available every day.
Well,
and I think it's going to come down to the tour to implement that because
that's on the new CEO.
That soundbite from Rory, he's clearly very aware of which days he doesn't speak, and that's a problem. I'm not saying that he should be available every day, but in the sense of like Monday through Sunday. Mm-hmm. But, you know, he has to have his pre-tournament press conferences. That is slated. And I think he has to do a flash every single day because if he blows you off, then the media is going to eat that up. That is how the media environment works. Mm-hmm. And they build and they build. So you going 4 straight days in a major championship, that is going to build to the point where you can't come back from that. And you know, I think it's important to know Rory's been a great voice to the game, so I want to see this settle for a week and see what he's like at Travelers.
Coming up next, we had an opportunity to talk with our friends at the Majestic Oaks. We went down there, played some golf. Our conversation from the Majestic Oaks coming your way next on the tee. You were excited to be out here at Lake Lawn Resort to play Majestic Oaks today, Stephen. And with us all day, Brandon McConnell, Chief Commercial Officer with Majestic Oaks, Lake Lawn Resort here. Thank you so much for having us out here, man.
Hey, my pleasure. Thank you guys for making the trip.
So what would you say is the bread and butter of Majestic Oaks?
You know, when we redesigned this course, I mean, the course opened initially back in the early 20s, 1921. We redesigned the course in 1990, and it's gone through a number of iterations. The magic sauce for us, honestly, is the fact that anybody of any level of any type of golf, whether you think you're Tiger Woods or if you're just starting out, this course is approachable. It's a lot of fun. You get to be on the lakefront, and by the end of your round, you're wanting to come back.
Yeah. Approachable, but not necessarily easy. You know, I'll tell you what, there were a couple of shots out there where I was like, this is a big boy golf course.
I mean, you nailed it. I mean, it is a challenge for even the most seasoned of golfer, but it is a lot of fun and a place where you can really just dive in and lose yourself for a few hours, which is what golf's about, right? It's the love of the game. It's how you grew up with it. As being somebody who grew up going out with my grandfather, every time I step out on this course, more than any other course, it flashes me back to that. And we're really excited to see that excitement in the new generation of golfers coming up.
I know a big emphasis is on the family environment out here. I mean,
yeah,
the pool behind us.
This is what I have been wanting to talk about, Stephen. We have talked about the
lake.
$15 for families per person to come out here and play golf. I have not been able to wrap my head around it, and I need Brandon to tell me, okay, so what do you all get? Because again, I just assumed it was a typo. I mean, I kept reading it, but I assumed it was a typo in the copy you gave us. How much does it cost, and what do you get with your family fun nights?
Yeah, so for under $15 a person, you're getting 9 holes of golf. You're getting your cart. Every person gets something to drink, a snack, and you are out there on our front 9, which is really the picturesque lakefront stretch. And you get to go out there for under $15. I mean, you can't go to a fast food restaurant and eat for under $15. So to be able to go out there, you know, this family fun night, and I appreciate you all giving it a shout out over the last number of weeks, because this season we have seen such an increase in golf. And with what Rory did at Augusta, it's no different than my generation with what Tiger was doing. It builds this new excitement level, and getting everybody out here repetitively, right? It's not, hey, let's try it, you know, it's under $15 and we'll go have fun one night. It is the excitement on the kids' faces, the smiles, and I can't tell you how many kids, guys, have come back with their own clubs that their parents went out and bought them because they got to go out at this price point that really just opened doors for everyone.
You know how refreshing that is to hear? Like, truly, I mean that genuinely. Like, we love this game. We started this radio show because we love this game. We also have been fortunate to be playing this game since we were kids. And we had people that inspired us and put golf in front of us. And we were able to create core memories because of this game. And what you guys are doing here is you're setting that foundation for these kids. I mean, $15 for a family, like that, could go to Culver's and spend double that, right? Like
Absolutely.
truly, that's an incredible deal, and I think that like the fact that that's the root of what you guys are trying to do out here, that's pretty unique. That separates you guys. I think that's really special.
Yeah, and we really know where we're at, right? We are blessed to be in an area with some really high-end championship courses, right?
Yeah.
And what we are is that upper mid-scale course that is approachable, that you aren't going to be throwing your clubs, because you get too frustrated. Though I have seen it once or twice, now that I say that. But it is a place where, and we say this about the entire resort, but especially on the course. Lake Lawn and Majestic Oaks, it's where memories are made and stories are relived, right? And where else, and you just highlighted it, for all three of us especially, memories on the course. That's what keeps us coming back.
Yeah.
Talking with Brandon McConnell, he is the Chief Commercial Officer here at Majestic Oaks Lake Lawn Resort. We had a blast out on the golf course with you today. What is your favorite part about the golf course?
It's the balance of the wide open fairways, which make it seem approachable, and you get on these huge dance floors of our greens.
Whoa, I gotta stop you there.
Huge?
There are a couple that are bigger.
Did we play the wrong course?
We may have played the wrong course, because I thought there were some pretty small ones on the front side.
I would say there's a handful of big greens.
A couple that are just real small.
There are a couple tight. You're not wrong. But Kevin Hammond is our superintendent, and he and his team have this course really dialed in, especially with recent weather and coming out of a very interesting weather pattern in the off season. But you can bomb one in the fairway, and once you get to these greens, the cigar rolls, the elevation changes. It's a challenge. So for me, what I love about the course is, again, from the moment you tee off, there's a belief, hey, I can have some fun today. And then by the time on that same hole, you're walking off the green, you're like, I might need to rethink my game a little bit.
Yeah, I mean, the name is fitting too, because there's a lot of beautiful trees on property on top of course, Lake Delavan, which is right behind us here. It's that's enough of a setting to make you want to come back, but the way that the Oaks kind of frame a lot of these golf holes out here, Gabe, is kind of what stood out to me is on the tee box. It's very easy on the eyes. It challenges you. There are a couple of tee shots out there where you actually have to change the club in hand because of how the trees will test you off the tee. And I kind of love that environment of having to use different clubs and try to use as many in the bag as possible. Definitely felt like I got that out here.
Yeah, you'll stand over a shot and rethink, based on how your round has gone. And I think that's a really true sign of a great course, right? That it's not so cookie cutter, that there's deep character to it.
Yeah, and I mean, I had a blast playing it. What is your favorite hole, Majestic Oaks?
I am a partial par 3 guy. So hole 2, elevated tee box, you're hitting right at the lakefront. One of those larger greens. But
the landing area today wasn't very large. It was all the way in the back shelf.
It was. I've mentioned our superintendent. Next time I'm not telling him when you guys are coming, because I think he tried to challenge you intentionally. But
we won't name names out here, but we know your name, sir.
Oh,
no, what an incredible! I mean, the course is in great shape. You mentioned the spring. Like a lot of golf courses this time of year are struggling to find the grass. You would not know that with how lush the greens were out here, how great the grass was. Par 3s out here, no joke, Gabe.
No, and we talk about that a lot, about how I think par 3s can really differentiate a golf course. And, a lot of times you go to a place and it's kind of the same 1 or 2 clubs. That is not the case out here. I mean, we were playing from the back tees. You take a look at the card and it's like 6,200 yards. You're going, all right, I'm going to take this thing down today. And you've got 230-yard par 3, 210. Like, there's a couple beefy par 3s out there.
I hit a driving iron on par 3 for the first time since Scotland.
It was fantastic. It was a fantastic shot too, might I add. Playing the slopes perfectly out here at Majestic Oaks.
Need to come back. I feel like a member already.
But Brandon, again, Stephen, I think was also talking about this. I mean, just kind of looking around and the big, the size of the property, having lunch out here as we're about to, just after the round at the great restaurant. I mean, it's really seems like a very family friendly approach you guys have at Lake Lawn and Majestic Oaks.
Absolutely, it is a place where you can make a day of it.
Yeah.
Obviously, with the award-winning main lodge, it's been around since 1878.
Oh, that's all.
Yeah, just a few years. Closing in on 150 years. And we just did a multi-million-dollar renovation of all of the rooms, the meeting spaces, the restaurants. It's really a refreshed step back in time. You know, that's an oxymoron to say, but it really is. Over 2 miles of lakefront, right? So we talk about family golf nights. You come here, you can enjoy the spa, you can stay the night, you can enjoy dining, you can rent boats and enjoy Delavan Lake. Or you can come down for golf and then grab a few cold ones down here at the Lookout or at 1878 and enjoy lunch or dinner to put a bow on a really great family-friendly day.
Yeah, it's rare to see the type of place that can be a day destination and then a destination for a weekend.
Absolutely.
And that's what you guys definitely have here. It's a beautiful property.
I do want to thank you for having us out here today. You also provided Stephen and I with this great Majestic Oaks flag that the entire staff signed. So thank you so much for that.
Throw that up in the studio.
Get that thing up and running. But you guys have a tremendous golf course resort here. Thank you so much for having us out today.
Thank you guys. Much appreciated.